Today's video is about the cons of owning a laundromat. I recently did one on the pros, and as with any business, most people already know the pros. They want to be their own boss, the potential to use their own ideas, obviously personal financial gain. So the pros are usually the obvious ones and why people want to get into any business. But no business is perfect, including the laundromat business, and there are some cons you should be aware of. And the first cons is that laundromats are still a business. They're not extremely difficult to run. It's not like running a company like Apple, but you probably did spend several $100,000 to buy one, maybe $1 million to build one from scratch. So they still need your attention. They still need to be run correctly. A lot of times people get this false impression that laundromats are completely absentee. You buy one, you collect some quarters every Friday, and you just make a lot of money. And that's not totally the case. Now, you don't have to quit your full-time job, like I've mentioned in other videos, to own a laundromat. But it's not completely passive like it's made out to be. So it's still a business. You still have to run it. You still have to give good customer service. You have to keep an eye on the competition. You have to price things correctly. You will probably have employees, maybe not a lot, but even one is still another responsibility. So yes, you have to treat it just like you would any other business. Another con can be working with the public. Now, for the most part, I think our customers are really great. We get to know them, we talk to them on a personal level. A lot of times we know their names, they know ours, where they work, what's going on in their lives. But anybody who has worked with the general public knows that anybody can walk in. And sometimes they're not always happy people. We recently got a 1-star review, and obviously if you know my videos, if you've seen my book, that drives me crazy because I'm all about customer service. But evidently what happened, a lady walked in, she wanted wash and fold same day, and the attendant, who I know is great because she gets nothing but raves, I'm so lucky to have her, said, you have to hold on a second because I got to find out if the night person has enough time to, do what's already on the list and add yours in. So evidently she got into a bit of a huff and just walked out, okay? She left us her only review ever, her first and only review. She left us 1 star and didn't say a single thing about us. So I don't even know how to respond to that. But that's what happens when you work with the general public. Anybody can come in with any mindset, in any kind of mood, and they're not always friendly. So when you work in an office location, you're usually dealing with people in the office or other professionals. Anybody who has worked, at a McDonald's, a Target, a grocery store knows anybody can walk in. And you don't always know what you're going to get. So for the most part, I would say the customers are good. But you can still get some of those that really, really try your patience. This can be a con depending on how you look at it. But if you're somebody who works, a 9-to-5 job, Monday through Friday, is used to having the weekends off, a lot of times you get the holidays off, so you have your 3-day, maybe 4-day weekends around Thanksgiving. With the laundromat, it's not like that. Laundromats open earlier. Ours opens at 7, but first of all, there's a lot that are open 24 hours, but there are, in my area, some that open at 5:30, 6 o'clock. We close at 8, but again, there are some that close at 9 or 10. And so you have these irregular hours that you might be working that you've never worked before. And also, you're obviously open every single weekend. So you don't have necessarily the weekends off. And we are open every holiday, at least our store. But from what I see, most stores are. The only 2 days most stores close fully are Thanksgiving and Christmas. We close a little bit early on Christmas Eve. We close a little bit early on New Year's Eve, but New Year's Day, we have regular hours. July 4th, we had regular hours. And that's one thing that did surprise me too. The first year that we owned it, I said, you know what, I'll work whatever the first holiday was. I guess it was New Year's Day. And I told my wife, I said, look, if it's dead, I'll just close up if nobody's there. And what we came to find is that holidays are some of our busiest days. You know, you might think, well, who's doing laundry on July 4th? Well, you know, not everybody is going to a family picnic. And sometimes it's just a good day to get things done. So with laundromats, you do have those irregular hours, and not everybody is always used to those. One large expense with laundromats is maintenance and repairs. It's very helpful if you're handy. I unfortunately am not, but you try to learn to be a little more handy. But I had one repair person tell me, he said the only way to keep the machines from breaking is to not use them. And that's not really very practical advice. But I understood what he was saying. You know, if you use them every single day, 363 days a year, things break. And the older the machines get, the more often they break. So if you are handy, that's fantastic. But realize that, you know, if you have 50, 60, 100 machines, you know, with dryers and washers combined, you're going to have machines regularly break. And if you have the ability to fix them, that's great. But even realize that even if you are handy, there are certain things that you just need a professional for. You know, plus the fact that in your storeroom, you don't have all these parts. You're running a laundromat, not a laundry repair shop. So if you're not handy, it's good to get a little more handy if you can. There are some simple things. You know, if you hear a squeak, okay, it's a wheel on a dryer, you can take care of that. But there will be things that you will have to get a repair person in for. Laundromats are also not inexpensive. Laundromats are a popular industry right now. And anytime something is popular, you're going to pay a premium for them. So if you think that you're going to go out there, scope out a laundromat, you know, find a naive owner and scoop one up cheaply, that's probably not going to happen. You know, even an underperforming laundromat is going to want more money for it. That doesn't mean they're going to get it, but they are going to want it. So laundromats normally sell for about 5 times earnings. So any decent laundromat, you're going to pay a couple of $100,000 for it, just as a base, if not to $1 million. Also, the equipment is very expensive. If any of you have seen my other videos, we have 2 large ones, 2 large 60-pound machines in the back. It's under the Notre Dame sign. And brand new, those machines are probably like $15,000 a piece. Okay. Yeah, the equipment also, if you find an underperforming laundromat and you think you're going to go in and, okay, we'll take this over and we'll improve the customer service, we will put in new equipment, we'll just realize that equipment is not inexpensive. And since the pandemic, the prices have been going up significantly. Doesn't mean you can't use, you know, refurbished equipment. But even those are going to cost you several $1,000s a piece. So a laundromat is not an inexpensive venture. Another thing that you can't control are your water, gas, and electric utility costs. Yes, you can get more efficient equipment. That is something that's possible. I just had mentioned equipment isn't inexpensive, but the newer models keep getting more and more efficient. But nonetheless, the water company, the gas, the electric, what they're going to charge you, regardless of what type of machines that you have. And if they decide to raise their prices 10%, well, you're pretty much stuck. You don't really have any choice. You can't go looking around for another water company. And obviously water is essential to the business. So a lot of times you need to look into the utility cost before you purchase a store or have one built, because there's three main costs that go into a laundromat. One is your rent, two is your payroll, and then three is utilities. Okay? If your utilities are going to be too much of a percentage of your revenue, that could really hold you back from making the maximum profit that you want. Utilities should account for less than 20 to 25% of your revenue. So let's say you have $200,000 in sales, your utilities should be $50,000 and under. I mean, if you can get them under 20%, that's even better. But just realize you want to know your utility costs before you buy a store or build one, because that's something you can't negotiate. You might be able to negotiate your rent, get a better lease, but the water company has the water, and if you need 100,000 gallons, this is how much it costs. The last thing I would say is that, summing up my first point, is that a laundromat is not hard, but it's not that easy. You just don't show up and, you're just making money hand over fist. All the better operators that I have come across in the industry, they take a lot of pride, obviously, in their stores, but they put the effort in. And I'm not talking about necessarily working in the store. They're not necessarily sweeping the floor or folding t-shirts, although sometimes they, if they're behind, they will get involved in that. But they're thinking about, how do I grow this business? How do I market it? How do I keep my margins up? So owning a laundromat is not simply, here's the keys, now you have a license to make money. It's still a business, that you have to run. I have a business plan. It's not a serious hardcore business plan like you would have 20 pages like you needed to get a loan from the bank. It doesn't have graphs and all these other things. But it does have, financial numbers, and it does have a game plan for, what I want to do through the course of this year and then also beyond. So just don't think that you're going to buy a laundromat and become automatically wealthy. Is it a great business? Yes, but it's like a lot of businesses. You're going to get into it, or you're going to get out of it what you put into it. So I appreciate you watching until the end of the video. Please hit the like button if you like this video. Also subscribe, it really helps. And put in the comments any type of videos that you would like me to make on the laundromat industry. Take care.